Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartribhyo Vamsha Rishibhyo Namo Gurubhyaha. So we were looking at the sixth mantra in the third Brahmana, which is the Jyotir Brahmanam of the fourth chapter. So here Yajnavalkya is being asked by Janaka if all the external lights are all resolved, okay, they are no more there, whether it is sun, moon, fire, okay, lightning, stars, you can add everything, okay, everything is gone, and also your other indriyas also are not active, the karmendriya and jnanendriya. So you cannot even use touch or sound also to know your surroundings and do some activity. When such is the case, okay, what is the Jyoti for the Purusha? So Astamite Aditye Yajnavalkya Chandramasi Astamite Shante Agnau Shantayam Vachi Kim Jyotihi Eva Ayam Purushaha Iti Atmaiva Asya Jyotihi. That is the answer of Yajnavalkya. Atma itself is the Jyoti. So here Atma means what? Whether, because the word Atma is used in different meanings in different contexts. Is it the Dehatma Sanghata? Means no. So Bhashyakara actually constructed an inference. Okay, because for all inference you should have a hetu or invariable concomitance. The knowledge of invariable concomitance has to be there, Vyapti, and based on that you have to see the hetu or the cause for inference. So like this, how can we construct an invariable concomitance and then look at the hetu here means? So already we have seen so many cases, correct? Starting from Aditya and Chandra. Now all of them are external to the Dehatma Sanghata. That is one thing we see. Okay. So based on that, when all of them are not available, still if activities are happening, particularly in dream, okay, and even during sleep, there is some activity which is happening based on which you are able to recollect when you wake up that I did not know anything, I slept well, etc. So when none of these other external lights are available, still activities are happening, means there has to be a Jyoti. But that Jyoti has to be other than the Dehatma Sanghata, because in the previous cases also, they were all other than the Dehatma Sanghata only. So even in Swapna, whatever is activity is happening, it is happening due to a Jyoti which is other than the Dehatma Sanghata Jagratvat. Like that you can give Jagrat as a Drishtanta. So the Hetu here is activities are still happening. So based on the activity only we infer that there has to be a Jyoti which is Upakaraka, which is the one which helps in that activity or the functions for them to happen. There has to be a Jyoti, and that Jyoti has to be there in this case also, and it has to be other than the body mind sense complex. Like this we do an Anumana. Now in this Anumana, Bhashyakara also adds some more things. He says that since this Jyoti since there are no external lights, this Jyoti has to be internal, antastham. That is one point. The other thing is, the other lights are all available to your Indriya and Manas as an object of cognition. But this Jyoti is not available like that. Therefore, it also has to be abhautika, he says. It has to be internal and it has to be not some physical light, you can say, or non-elemental. It is not made up of the Mahabhutas. It is not made up of any of these bhautikas. Okay, it is not an elemental. It is not basically made up of any elements. Therefore, it is abhautika and it is antastha. So this also he says here. So kincha adityadi jyotihi vilakshanam tat abhautikam cha. Okay. Sayeva hetuhu yat chakshuradi agrahyatum, it says. Because this jyoti is not available to be grasped or cognized by the chakshu, etc. indriyas. Like even the other external jyotis are all available. And they are all bhautika. But this jyoti is not available for cognition, for grasping by the indriyas. Therefore, it is abhautika and it is also, it has to be internal. Like this, Bhashyakara made an anumana. For this, the Purva Pakshi is a Charvaka or a Swabhavavadi, we say. One who says that everything is as it is because it is their nature. So they give few arguments. Quickly, we saw all these arguments also last time, correct? One argument he says is that how can you say it is abhautika? Only samana jatiya, that which is of the same category alone can be upakaraka or can help another entity, okay, which is also has to be of the same jati. In this case, if you say there is a jyotis other than the body mind sense complex, but body mind sense complex itself is bhautika. Therefore, the jyoti which is helping this body mind sense complex also has to be bhautika only. It cannot be abhautika. Like this, one argument is given. But more than that, the Charvaka do not even accept that there is a jyoti other than the body mind sense complex. It is your manoratha, he says. Tava manoratham, he says here. Tasmat tava manoratham. He does not accept there is an internal jyoti. He says it is the body mind sense complex itself is the pramata. It is the jyoti. So vilakshanam atma jyotihi siddhamiti, that is your only imagination. In fact, the sentiency itself is there only when the body mind sense complex is there. Okay, he says karyakarana sangata bhava bhavitvacha sangata dharmatvam anumiyate jyotishaha. So since the sentiency or awareness is there only when the body is there, or it is manifest only in the body, it has to be a quality of the body only. Therefore, this is what is their argument. And in fact, they give this argument that you can say that how you can say the body has this quality, body and all is jada, bhutas are all jada, means they say that when different things come together, consciousness is produced. Like even you mix different things, by themselves they are not toxic. But if you mix a few chemicals together, it can create cyanide or it can create something which is toxic, correct? Or by themselves, certain things are not intoxicating. But if you mix them and then keep it for some time, it ferments or whatever, and then it becomes intoxicating. You get alcohol. Like that, these bhutas, when they come together in a certain manner, consciousness is produced. Okay, so it is a dharma of the body only. This is their argument. Okay, in fact, it is not very different from the modern scientific argument. Okay, because modern scientists also, they pin everything on the brain. Okay, so they don't. Some of them accept that there is a separate thing called awareness, mind, and all that. In fact, many of them don't even accept mind as a separate entity. They say it is an epiphenomenon of matter. Epiphenomenon means really it is not a substance. Okay, it is only some kind of a manifestation without any being a substance of itself. That is called epiphenomenon. It is not a phenomenon. So scientists also say that when many things come together and some electrical pulses are all there in your brain, then all this cognition and all is happening. Awareness is there. That's all they talk about even today. Even the brain research and all is trying to find out what kind of changes are happening in the brain when certain stimulus is given through your sense organs, etc. Okay, so they try to measure the waves. There are brain waves and there are electrical pulses passing through the neurons. All those things they try to measure. So they are looking at it only physically, not even mind. They don't bring. So the Charvaka, modern scientists are also some kind of Charvakas only. But the olden classical Charvakas do not even accept Anumana. For them, Pratyaksha alone is the main Pramana. Anumana, they say that Anumana is based on Vyapti Jnanam, you say. But it is all only, it is not still sure. How do you know that that invariable concomitance will always work? You say it is invariable concomitance. But I can say that today you say that I see smoke, therefore I infer fire. But what if there can be a smoke without fire also? How are you very sure that wherever there is fire only smoke will come? Like that you cannot be always sure, they say. It is only a probability or a possibility. So Anumana being based on invariable concomitance or Vyapti, that Vyapti itself cannot be established 100% surely. So it is only a possibility. So we don't accept even Anumana for them. Okay. And they say that Pratyaksha is the main thing. In fact, Anumana is based on some Samanya. He gives an argument like this here somewhere. Okay. See, Samanyataha Drishtabale Nahi Bhavan Adityadivat Vitiriktam Jyoti Sadayati Karyakarnebhyaha. See, Anumana is based on some similarities, correct? So, like where, see, you see some smoke on the hill. Now you are saying the hill is similar to your kitchen, because in kitchen also you see smoke, there is fire, and therefore if you see smoke on the hill, hill is also similar. The samanyata is there between the hill and the kitchen, and so the hill smoke also is similar to kitchen smoke. Therefore there has to be a fire there also. Like this samanya, based on samanya you do, but samanya can also be used ridiculously. You can say certain things, correct? Like there are hetva bhasa, we call it in Nyaya. The hetu which you use to do the inference can have abhasa, means what? It is distorted. It can be bad inference also. So not all inferences are proper. So you can say even Agni is having Ushna. But let us say I do an Anumana like Agnehe Shaityam. Agni is cold. Why? Because Dravyatvat, it is also a Dravya. Jalavat, like even water also is Dravya, Agni also is Dravya. So Samanya is there. So if I do an Anumana that, therefore, since water is cold and it is Dravya, Agni also is a Dravya, therefore it is cold. Can I do an Anumana like that? It will go against Pratyaksha, correct? So based on Samanya, you can do any Anumana, you can do an Anumana and try to establish anything, he says. Okay. So we do not accept Anumana itself. That is their argument. Okay. And so your Anumana also, in this case, we do not accept that there is a Jyoti which is other than the body mind sense complex. We have to go by whatever is Pratyaksha. Is that clear? So here we see that body mind sense complex only is aware. That is the Pratyaksha. And therefore there is no separate Jyoti which is required. And that is its very Swabhava itself, he says. They are called Swabhavavadi because they say things are all there as it is. It is their nature. You don't have to find any reason for that. Why its nature is like that and all, you cannot find. It is the nature of Agni to be hot. It is the nature of water to be cold, etc. That is its very nature. Now the Siddhanti here gives one argument saying that if you say so, if it is very nature If the body's nature is to be aware or conscious, etc., that is the Jyoti. The Jyotis is a nature of the body. Means sometimes there is no Jyoti when you are sleeping, when you have fainted, let us say, or you are in coma, etc. There is no Jyoti in the body. So sometimes there is Jyoti, sometimes it is not there. How do you explain this? And the body is intact. It is not dead body or anything. Correct? Bhashyakara says, Katham avikalasya eva asya darshanadi kriyagartritvam kadachit bhavati kadachin na iti. Avikala means the body is intact without any defect, etc. It is a proper body. Even when the body is intact, sometimes only the activities are all happening. It appears it is sentient. Sometimes no activities seem to be happening. Okay, darshanadi kriya are not happening. Even right before your eyes, something goes, you don't see, that person does not see anything because that person has fainted or whatever, or sleeping. So, for this also he says it's not a dosha. Why? This is seen even in the nature, like even a firefly is there, khadyote prakasha aprakashakatvena drishyamane karanandram anumeyam nahi na anumeyam, he says. So you don't have to infer a reason for why the firefly is sometimes bright, sometimes it doesn't have brightness. Okay, it is not luminous. Okay, because it is its nature. Sometimes it will be luminous, sometimes it is not luminous. That is fine. You don't have to infer a reason for that. If you start inferring based on some, like I already said, correct, based on some samanya, some similarities, then you can infer anything anywhere. He says sarvatra anumeyam syat. So anything you can, everything you can infer anywhere. Okay, everywhere, whatever. So everything you can infer anywhere or everywhere based on similarities, but we don't accept that. That is anishta, he says. That's anishta. You also will not accept that, he says. And also you cannot say that padartha, any substance, does not have its innate nature. Correct? Padartha swabhava nasti iti na, he says. Nahi padartha swabhavaha nasti. You cannot say that there is no swabhava for the padarthas. They are there. And also he gives further example what nahi agnehe ushna swabhavyam anya nimittam. The fire, its heat is not because of something else. Similarly, the coldness of the water also is not due to anything else. It is its very nature. So you have to accept the nature of the things. And similarly, you have to accept that the very nature of the body is that it has this sentiency, this dharma or quality of being the light. Okay, it illumines. But then the Purvapakshi, Bhashyakara says, Prani dharma adharmadi apekshamiti chet. Purvapakshi comes and says, no, even whatever, all the things which you see here, their swabhava, etc., it's all based on what experience the jiva has to undergo. For that purpose only this entire loka, different loka srishti and the whatever vastu which are there, bhogya vastus which are there, correct, to be enjoyed. The objects of enjoyments which are there in the different lokas, they are all there only due to the karma of the jiva. In fact, this was said in Brhadaranyaka itself before, if you go back. Okay, in the first chapter itself, it was said that jiva produces the loka due to jiva's own karma, like that. Okay, so the prani dharma adharma, punya papa only is the reason for this. We can say that because we accept Shruti Pramana, the Purvapakshi Charvaka does not accept the Shruti. Okay. So when we say like this, he says, he tries to give another reason to negate our argument. He says, if you say, okay, this Agni is having Ushnatvam, Udaka is having Shaityam, these are all because some jiva has to experience the heat and cold, etc., due to their own karma. If the karma becomes the reason for all these things, then what about the karma itself? Does it have its own nature to do all these things, or it depends on something else for its nature? If you say that the dharma also, it is nimittantara apeksha svabhava prasangaha, he says. So if you say if the Agni etc. depends on dharma for its svabhava, then what about the svabhava of the dharma also? They will also depend on something else. Like this, it will go on endlessly. You will get anavastha dosha, correct? That is called infinite regress in English. So he says, if dharma also depends on something else for its svabhava, it can come like that. So what do you say about that? Means Bhashyakara says, astu iti chet, let it be. For us, it's not a problem because everything ends in Brahman for us, correct? So astu, let it be. Means then he says, no, tad anavastha prasangaha. Then it will lead to anavastha, and that is not desirable to you also. Sacha anishtaha, he says. Okay. So now Bhashyakara does not directly address this anavastha question, but he goes back to all the arguments he has presented here, no? Correct? Because the main thrust of the Charvaka is that the body mind sense complex itself is the Jyoti. That itself is sentient. That itself illumines whatever is happening, and therefore, and all the activities are possible because of that. Even when the other external lights are not there, you do not, or you cannot infer something external to the body mind sense complex. This is his thrust of this argument. So Bhashyakara takes that up, but he will address all the other points also he has raised, because he has raised other extraneous points, correct? Like only the things belonging to the same category can help each other. That is one logic this person has given. Then he has talked about Anumana is not reliable. We don't even accept Anumana, because from Anumana you can infer anything anywhere. Like that, they have also found fault with Anumana itself in general. So they accept only Pratyaksha. And then they say that anything which you observe, it's all Swabhava. It's very nature itself. Any variation in behavior or variations in the qualities of things also, it is all their own Swabhava only. You don't have to go looking for any cause for all these things. Like this, they have said many points. Each of these things Bhashyakara will take up. Because if you don't accept the Swabhava, he is saying that you will go into Anavastha, etc. So let us see how Bhashyakara addresses all these things. See, he says first, na swapna smrityoho drishtasya eva darshanat. Na, okay, na we have to take. So whatever you have, all the arguments you have given, correct? For everything, Bhashyakara says na. Whatever you have said is not correct. Okay. Why? Because the summary of the argument is what? Swapna smrityoho drishtasya eva darshana. See the beautiful argument he gives. The swapna and smriti, memory and dream, are there based on whatever you have already cognized. Therefore, the one who cognized before only is seeing the dream and the memory, correct? So, drishtasya eva darshanat means what? The one who has seen already in Jagrat, I have seen certain things that only either I can remember or even in my dream I can see that. Okay, the same person is there. The one who saw before only is remembering that, one who saw before only is dreaming about that. This itself is the reason to point out that there is a Jyoti which is other than the body mind sense complex, Bhashyakara. This is the crux of the argument. Now he explains that. Okay, what he says, Yaduktam Swabhava Vadina Dehasya eva darshanadi kriya na vyatiriktasya iti tanna. So now he explains, you the Swabhavavadi who is a Charvaka, you said that Deha itself does this darshanadi kriya. the seeing, etc., is done by the body, mind, sense, or body itself for them. Mind and senses and all. Some Charvakas accept that body itself cannot do, because dead body does not do anything, correct? Therefore, there has to be something else. Means they talk about then Indriya, Manas and all that. In fact, Bhashyakara will address all those things also. Not just the physical body, but initially he is talking about the physical body. He says, this one Charvaka says that physical body itself is doing the seeing, etc., which I said is not very different from the modern scientists. So for that, what is the argument here? He says that is not true. Physical body itself cannot see anything. Why? The argument is yadihi dehasya eva darshanadi kriya. If deha itself is the seer, if the physical body itself is the seer, it is the hearer, it is the thinker, etc. Swapne drishtasya eva darshanam nasyat, he says. In dream, you will not dream about whatever you have already seen. So generally in dream, we say the rule is that dream is nothing but it is based on the impressions which you have gathered during the waking. Whatever during waking you have cognized, those impressions only come as in your dream world, and you also see and recognize them also many times. That you can even recognize later on, you can say, I dreamt about this person, etc. Correct? So whatever you saw in the dream also, or sometimes you see weird dreams, correct? You see a man with a horn. In reality, there is no men with horn, you can say. But still, you have cognized men during waking, you have cognized buffaloes with horns. You can very well put them together in the dream and see. Okay, it's not an impossibility. So at least the parts themselves you have cognized. So you put them together and you see, that is possible in dream anyway. So, but still it is whatever you have cognized only you are seeing in the dream. So the one who cognized before is the same person who is cognizing now. That is the main point here Bhashyakara wants to drive. Okay. If that is the case, then what we are saying is, during dream, the physical eyes are not active. Correct. Even the Charvaka has to agree, because eyes are all closed. There is no physical, the physical body is not active. You are sleeping, you are there in one place, but you are cognizing so many things in dream. And that cognizer is not different from the one who was awake, who was using the physical body and who was awake and who was still cognizing things. If both of them are same, then when the physical body is available also, somebody is cognizing through the physical body. You have to say, when the physical body is not active also, the same cognizer is still cognizing in a different way. That means that cognizer is separate from the physical body. This is what Bhashyakara is trying to establish. Is that clear? So that's why he has to say that even in dream, we are cognizing the same thing which we already cognized during the waking, because the cognizer during the waking state and the cognizer during the dream are one and the same. And that is our experience also, correct? I am awake, I dreamt. I was awake, I dreamt, I sleep. Or I am awake, I dream, I sleep. I am awake, I dream, I sleep. That cognizer is the same I. That is our experience also. Nobody can deny that. So, if the same person is cognizing in waking, and based on whatever cognized in waking, that same person is dreaming, but during dream, the physical body is not active, physical body is not doing anything. Therefore, it is the same person, means it has to be different from the body, we say. But then the Purva Pakshi now wants to give an argument saying, no, there is no rule that the dream has to be based on only whatever was seen before. He says, what about blind people? Blind people also dream. Okay. So that is the next point he says. What is that? Andaha swapnam pashyan drishtapurumeva pashyati. So even if the Purva Pakshi says, what about blind? Bhashyakara answers that straight away. He says, even blind people, if they see the dream, they also dream about whatever they have seen before when they had functioning eyes, correct? Because eyes may become non-functional due to some disease, or in those days there were punishments like gouging out of the eyes and all that, correct? They may even remove your eyes if you do some kind of a crime and all that. There were punishments like that in those days. But even the fellow who is blind also dreams about whatever he has already seen only. He doesn't, in fact, he says, Bhashyakara says, Na Shaka Dvipadi Gatam Adrishta Rupam. He doesn't dream about something which is there in Shaka Dvipa. See, according to our Puranas, there are 7 Dvipas, correct? Sapta Dvipas are up there. In fact, in our Sankalpa also we say, correct? Jambu Dvipe, Bharata Varshe, Bharata Khande, Meroho Dakshine Parshvan. We are in Jambu Dvipa. In fact, those who are in America and all, now they say some other name, Krauncha Dvipa or something they say. In fact, according to the Puranas, there are 7 Dvipas, correct? Jambu Dvipa is where we are there. Then there is Shaka Dvipa, Krauncha Dvipa, Shalmali Dvipa, Gomeda Dvipa, Plaksha Dvipa, Pushkara Dvipa, like that. There are 7 Dvipas are there, 7 islands or 7 continents also some people say. And in fact, they are all ruled by the sons of our not sons of Manu, but Swayambhu Manu had a son called some that person's name I forgot. In fact, okay. So he had 7 sons, and each of so these are all Swayambhu Manu's grandchildren, 7 of them, and they are all ruling. Each one is ruling these dvipas like that. It is there in the Purana. I think Varaha Purana. Different Puranas talk about all these dvipas. So what Bhashyakara here is like, we say like Timbuktu and all that nowadays, correct? So he says even the blind does not dream about something which is there in Shakadvipa. They only dream about whatever they have seen here in the Jambudvipa. Okay. So tatascha etat siddham bhavati. From this is established. What? Yaha swapne pashyati drishta purvam vastu saeva purvam vidyamane chakshushi adrakshit. Okay, so whatever you see in the swapna, that has been seen by the eyes which you had, correct? As a waker. Okay, Sayeva Purvam Vidyamane Chakshushi Adrakshit. So Purvam Vidyamane Chakshushi means what? In the physical body, whatever eyes you had during waking, with that you saw something. That alone you are seeing during the dream also. Na deha iti. It cannot be the body because the body is not active during swapna. So the seer has to be separate from the body. But if you still say deha is the drashta, dehaschet drashta, sa yena adrakshit, tasmin udrite chakshushi swapne tadeva drishtapurvam na pashyet. Bhashyakara says. If you say deha itself is the seer, means what? Then if you gouge out the eyes, if you remove the eyes, udrite chakshushi, then the blind person cannot dream about whatever he has seen already. In fact, the Charvakas do not accept anything other than what you see through Pratyaksha. So they do not accept even this impressions. Okay. They do not accept samskara because samskaras are all atindriya. So they cannot claim that the samskara is there and all that. I don't know how they account for memory then. But modern scientists still say that there is some samskara in your brain and all that, correct? Memory is there in some part of brain. But even that brain itself is seeing whatever samskaras which is there in itself is a problem again, correct? It is becoming, subject itself is cognizing the subject like that, it will become. I don't know how modern scientists address that. They have their own something maybe. We have to look into that. But anyway, so Bhashyakara here says, if you remove the eyes, then the blind cannot see even in swapna whatever they have seen before. But even the blind dream, this is known to everybody. In fact, Bhashyakara says it is prasiddha. Even during his time, asticha loke prasiddhi, he says it is very well known to everybody in the loka that what Purvam drishtam maya himavataha shringam Adyaham swapne adrakshamiti udrita chakshunam andhanam api. So in those days, somebody's eyes were removed as a punishment, maybe, but still that person says, I saw in my dream. When I had eyes, I went to Himalayas and I saw the peaks in the Himalayas. Correct? Himavataha Shringam. The peaks of the Himalayas I saw, but now I don't have any eyes, but still I dreamt about that and I saw those peaks in my dream. Like this, even blind people dream. Therefore, the seer is separate. Seer is not the physical eyes or anything like that. Seer is other than the Deha. Now here Anandagiri actually raises one more question which Bhashyakara doesn't talk about. So Anandagiri says, what about then somebody who is blind from birth itself? If that person sees a swapna, I don't know whether they really see or not. Maybe modern scientists would have done some research there also. I think even those who are blind from birth, they do see some dreams. But whether they really see colors in their dreams or not and all, we have to see what is the research on that. But Anandagiri raises that question also in the Tika and then answers that. He says that even if somebody who is blind from whatever the due birth, if they see a dream, in fact, that is a problem for Charvaka more than us. We simply say that it is Purva Janma samskara is still there. Correct? The impressions are from the Purva Janma. Whatever they cognized in the Purva Janma, those impressions are now leading to the dream of even those who are born blind. The Charvaka, in fact, cannot explain that phenomena because they don't have any Purva Janma itself, correct? And they do not accept any samskara. There is a problem for them. For us, it's not a problem. But Bhashyakara actually does not talk about that. But he says that for him, the idea is that what? Whoever cognized before, with the physical body, is also cognizing when the physical body is not active. Therefore, that cognizer is not the physical body. That is the point he is trying to drive at, and he has established that. Okay, even if you bring in blind person and all that, still whatever we say alone makes sense. Whatever the Purvapakshi says is not proper. They cannot explain it correctly. Okay. So, tasmat anudhritepi chakshushi yaha swapnadrik Saeva drashta na deha iti avagamyate. So now finally he established tasmat. Therefore, what? Even if the one who has the eyes is seeing the swapna, during the swapna time, these eyes are not active. Therefore, you cannot say this deha is the cognizer. The cognizer is something other than the deha. Swapna drik is different. It is not deha. And similarly, he says, tatha smritau drashtrisma स्मर्त्रोः एकत्वे सति eva drashta saeva smarta. So it is the same case with reference to memory also, remembering also, because the one who remembers is the one who saw, correct? Normally we always remember whatever we have cognized already, whatever we have seen before, whatever we have heard before, whatever we have smelt before, only we can remember that. Okay, so that the one who remembers and the one who cognized before, they have to be one and the same. So, eva drashta sa eva smarta. The one who saw before alone can remember the same thing. So, yadacha evam tada nimilita akshaha api smaran drishtapurvam yad rupam tad drishtavadeva pashyati iti. So, if the seer and the rememberer are the same, during remembering something, in fact, mostly we close our eyes, correct? Of course, you can remember something with your eyes open also, but we close our eyes many times and then we remember something. When you want to dwell on your memories, typically we close our eyes and then visualize something or remember something. So even when the eyes are closed, you are seeing, that means the physical eyes are not the seer. Okay, it is something else which is the seer. Therefore, what? Tasmat nimilitam Tanna drashtri, whatever is closed, this eye cannot be the drashta, he says. Yet nimilite chakshushi smarat rupam pashyati tadeva animilite api chakshushi drashtri asi iti avagamyate. So that which is the seer even when the eyes are closed, that itself is the seer even when the eyes are open also. Correct? When nimilite means closed. When the eyes are closed, whatever is seeing the memory, the same thing alone is also cognizing even when your eyes are open and through your eyes some stimulus are coming. That also is seen by the same seer because that seer alone remembers even when the eyes are closed. So, and that is other than the body. That drashta, the seer is not the physical body that we understand. Further, one more argument. This can be given even to the modern scientists who claim that brain is the thing and all that, correct? What is that? Mritecha dehe avikalasya evacha rupadi darshana abhavat. So this is a standard argument, correct? So even when the body is dead, but body is intact. In fact, they are nowadays organ donation and all is possible, correct? Organs are all still alive. You can take and then make it work in some other body. That means the consciousness cannot be a property of the body. The one who sees is different because the dead body is not active. It is not able to react to the stimuli in the environment. Only the body which is alive. So whatever makes the body alive and whatever makes the body function, that is something other than the body, and that itself is the seer. So that's what we have to infer here. Mritecha dehe avikalasya evacha rupadi darshana bhavat. So the dead body which is intact does not see anything. It does not see any color or form, etc. So dehasya eva drashtutve mrite epi darshanadi kriya syat. If deha is the one who is the seer, then even the dead body has to see. Okay, but that is not the case. Therefore, what tasmad yad apaye dehe darshanam na bhavati tad bhave cha bhavati tad darshanadi kriya kartri na dehaha iti avagamyate. So now Bhashyakara summarizes. So when something is not there, correct, this consciousness is not there, at that time the deha does not have any darshana, and whenever it is there, then this darshanadi kriya are possible. That alone is the darshanadi kartri. That is the one which does all the activity really through the deha. Deha itself is not the one who does all these activities. So na deha iti avagamyate. That is now established, that is understood. Further, what chakshuradini eva darshanadi kriya kartrini iti chet na. Okay, now physical deha is done. Now the Charvaka says, okay, physical deha is not the seer. We also accept that dead body does not see, etc. But even there, they have a certain argument. They say that one of the physical deha has this consciousness only when all the bhutas are all there together. But he says if the vayu goes out, only the other bhutas are there, but vayu has left. Vayu is prana, correct? Means then this is no more capable of having consciousness. Consciousness also goes. Like this, they have an argument. So this argument also we do not accept. Okay. So here, chakshuradini eva darshanadi kriya kartrini iti chet na. So now the argument shifts. They say that let the indriyas, chakshur indriya, etc., not the golaka, physical golaka, the physical organ, but the subtle organ, the sense organ. The eye is the one who does the darshanadi kriya, seeing. If you say that also, Bhashyakara says, no, we do not accept that. Why? Yad aham adraksham tat sprishami iti bhinna kartrikatve pratisandhana anupapatte, he says. So, Bhashyakara now brings a very beautiful argument. He says, if you see the eyes are the seer, but then we have Vyavahara like, I, the one who saw, is now touching the same thing, let us say. So the touch is a different Indriya, eyes are different Indriya, seer is different. But if the same person is also cognizing through touch and through the eyes, then only this Vyavahara is possible, correct? Bhinna Vyavahara is there now. The one who saw is the one who is touching also the same object, let us say. I saw this object, now I am touching this object. That is possible because the seer is other than the eyes and the whatever sense of touch. It is the same seer, same cognizer, but other than the indriyas. So the bhinna kartrikatva is possible. That is because the indriyas themselves are not the karta. The karta is somebody else who is using both the eyes and the sense of touch, let us say. So now, this being the case, what now they shift? They says manas tarhi iti che. What if the mind is the karta? Means Bhashyakara na. But also we don't accept. Why? Manasaha api vishayatva rupadivat drashtritvadi anupapattihi. So mind also is an object of cognition. What is mind? Mind is all the thoughts which are there. And those thoughts themselves are known to you, correct? I know my thoughts. So the Vedantic logic is very simple. Whatever I know is not I. So even the thoughts which are there in the mind, it is all only objects of cognition. It is like even seeing color and form, etc. Rupadivat. Drashtritvad, it is also a object of sight or object of cognition. Therefore, mind cannot be this light. It is not tenable. So mind itself cannot be the seer because it is the seen. Drashtritvadi anupapattihi is there for the mind. Therefore, what? We again come back to our original pratigna, whatever we said, correct? Tasmat antastham vyatiriktam adityadivaditi siddham. Therefore, what? There has to be a light, a seer, other than the body mind sense complex, which is inside and which is like the Surya, etc., other than the body mind sense complex, which is illuminating and making the activities possible in the body. That is established. Now Bhashyakara takes the other argument. Okay, what is that? Yaduktam karyakarana sanghata samana jatiyam eva jyotihi antaram anumeyam adityadibhi tat samana jatiyaihi eva upakriyamanatvaditi tad asat. So now Bhashyakara goes to the other argument where he said that only things belonging to the same category can help each other, correct? He says that, so the, say, like Aditya, etc., are Bhautika, and they help in the activity of the Dehadi Sanghata, which is also Bhautika. So only Bhautika Jyoti can help the Bhautika Dehadi, whatever Sanghata, for its activity. Abhautika is not possible because it is not Samana Jati, it is not of the same category or same species. That also is not true. Upakarya upakaraka bhavasya aniyama darshanat. So aniyama means what? There is no rule like that. That upakaraka, the helper, and upakarya, the helped, have to be of the same category. There is no niyama like that. We in fact see that. What are the examples? Katham, how we are saying that? Bhashyakara gives one example. Parthivaihi indhanaihi parthivatva samana jatiyaihi trina ulapadi ulapadibihi agnehe prajvalana upakaraha kriyamanaha drishyate. So this fuel are all parthivaha, he says. It is all from earth, correct? It is of the nature of earth in the Mahabhutas if you take. And but they help you to get fire, which is Agni, which is some other jati. It is not Parthiva, correct? In fact, what kind of fuel we use? We use things like grass, straw, etc. Trina ulapadi, bihi. They help you to burn the fire, to get the prajvalana, the flame. So they help to have the flame in the Agni, that is seen. But based on that, you cannot say only the Parthiva alone will help you. So Bhashyakara gives some other things also. Nacha tavata tat samana jatiya eva agneya prajalana upakaraha sarvatra anumeya sat. So even based on this, you cannot do an anumana that to get a fire, the fuel has to be always parthiva. It is not also like that. In fact, he says yena udakena api prajalana upakaraha. He says in some cases udaka, from water also there is flame. He says where bhinna jati yena udakena, there is a bhinna jati. Water also is something different from fire, but even that helps in the fire. When vaidyutasya agnehe, in lightning is from water, he says, water vapor only, correct? So, and also another example, it is our own example. Jatarasya cha kriyamane drishyate, he says, kriyamanaha. So there is an agni in your stomach. Aham Vaishwanaro Bhutva Praninam Deham Ashritaha, like that Bhagavan says, I am the Jatara Agni with the name Vaishwanaraha. I am sitting there as this Agni and digesting all your food. And to digest your food, you require water. Without drinking water or liquid, you cannot digest. Therefore, even there, the Jatara Agni also is helped by water. He gives couple of examples like this. So, Bhinna Jatiya. So, everything is Bhinna, different categories, but they can help each other. Therefore, there is no rule like what you are saying. Tasmat Upakarya Upakaraka Bhave Samana Jatiya Asamana Jatiya Niyamaha Nasti. There is no Niyama, like only those belonging to the same category alone can help things which belong to the same category, or something which belongs to another category cannot help that which belongs to some other category. All these rules are not there. In fact, kadachit samana jatiya manushyaha manushyahi eva upakriyante. So in some cases, what human beings help other human beings, they are samana jati, they are of the same category, same species. But kadachit, sometimes what Stavara Pashwadi Bischa Bhinna Jati, you are also helped by plants. Without plants, how will we live? We cannot even eat food. And animals also help us. That's why in our Pancha Maha Yajna, Bhuta Yajna is very important, correct? You have to take care of animals and plants also. All the other jivas, they also help you. They do not belong to the same species or category. Therefore, what? Tasmat ahetuhu karyakarana sanghata samana jatiye eva adityadi jyotirbihi upakriyamanatvaditi. So, karyakarana sanghata has to be helped only by adityadi jyotis, which are of the same category, which are all bhautika, like that whatever you said, it doesn't have any hetu, or doesn't have any proper backing or reasoning. It is not reasonable, whatever you have said. Therefore, what? That also is gone. Okay. Then finally, what? Yat punaha atha chakshuradibihi adityadi jyotirvat adrishyatvat iti ayam hetuhu jyotihi antarasya antasthatvam vailakshanyam chana sadhayati chakshuradibihi anaikantikatvad iti tad asat chakshuradi karanebhyaha anyatve sati iti hetor visheshanatva upapatte. Okay, the other thing he said was, we said it is two things, antastam and abhautikam, correct? For abhautikam, he said that even chakshuradi themselves cannot see themselves. Therefore, chakshuradi themselves are the light. Like this, he gave an argument. So you cannot say that because the eyes, etc., cannot cognize this jyoti is something abhautikam. Eyes themselves cannot see themselves. So you can even take the eyes as the jyoti. Like this, they gave an argument. Even that is wrong, he says. We have to only add one more qualification there. What is that? He says, Chakshuradi karnebhyaha anyatve sati. This light being something other than the Chakshuradi, this which we have already established, correct? But it is still not cognized by them. Therefore, it is abhautika, we can say. So we have to add that qualification that this light being other than the eyes, etc., but not being cognized by eyes, etc., has to be abhautika. It has to be non-elemental. It is not made up of any panchamaha bhuta. Like this, we will add a qualification, then fine. And in fact, we have already established that also. See, here also there can be one problem. So if we say that anything which is not cognized by eyes and other sense organs and mind has to be abhautika, like this I give a inference. There can be a problem here, because how do we then establish the vyapti? Is there anything else like that, or anywhere else because for invariable concomitance you require a prior cognition. I have to see fire and smoke together in the kitchen. Then only I say that if smoke is there on the hill, fire has to be there on the hill, correct? But if I don't even see the fire and smoke together first in the kitchen, how can I do any anumana? So where have you seen that something which is not seen by the sense organs is abhautika? To say that this light is abhautika, if you ask like that, so we do not have any, we cannot give any instance where such a cognition has taken place or anything, correct? In fact, we have to, certain things you have to give only negatively, Vyatireka, or we have to say the vyapti itself can be anumeya. You can infer, the inference is based on other inferences, we have to say, correct? So that way we can establish this one. And modern science also is like that, correct? It's all very sophisticated inference. One inference itself, its vyapti can be based on another inference. It need not be only pratyaksha. That also we have to understand. So anyway, Bhashyakara says that we add this qualification, and therefore that also is taken care of. And finally, okay, here we'll stop. He is now taking up this, the Purva Pakshi's objection to Anumana itself as a pramana. Okay, that he is taking up now. That we'll see next week. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
धन्यवादः.
Om.